sector. And in particular, most of this collaboration work is managed through this group here, which is called SCUL, the Scottish Confederation of University Research Libraries. That's been in place since 1977, whereas it originally sort of started as a group to manage acquisition issues. It's really at the heart of collaboration in general. It has the National Library of Scotland as a core member, the Scottish Libraries Information Council, which is the government advisors in the information sector, the big public lending libraries, all the academic libraries in Scotland. So it does a really good job. And in Scotland we've got a lot of other collaboration initiatives in place. Edinburgh, which is the National Academic Data Centre, things like SALSA, Serials Catalogue, the Scottish Digital Library Consortium, and this has been a really sort of strong one as well. It works as a service provider in some respects, but also manages like a buying group. Deals with library software systems in particular. And in particular, the sort of poster boy of Scottish collaboration at the moment is a thing called Schedule, which is quite recent, again a SCUL initiative. This is the Higher Education Digital Library, which has basically been a group that's been put together to negotiate pricing on journal subscriptions, and has done a fantastic job at the moment. And it's got three publishers on board, and as a result has made 1,300 and growing journals available across all the higher education sector in Scotland. And I'm mentioning that specifically because it deals with toll access journals. And effectively it's a sister activity to an initiative called OATS, which is about open access repositories in Scotland. So on that note there, just a very brief background on open access work in Scotland. Open access has been at the forefront really of SCUL's thinking since the early 2000s, and in 2004 there was a meeting held by SCUL at the Royal Society of Edinburgh, which was attended by pretty much anybody and everybody who's involved in research in Scotland. And the net result of that meeting was a declaration called OATS, which was signed by every academic institution in Scotland, which was a commitment to open access as a whole. And that's really been the kind of the key driver for most of the open access work that we do actually have. And the first real project that was run off the back of that was the project with IRS Scotland, which was looking at setting up a general infrastructure or institutional repositories across Scotland. And that was a JISC-funded initiative between 2005 and 2008. And my current project, ERIS, is in fact a successor project, but it's extending our scope a bit further, and particularly including research pools. So the repository infrastructure in Scotland, pretty well developed. Scotland's been quite progressive in its as a developer, and again through SCUL-based projects and across teams in Scotland in general. In particular, the University of Glasgow have done a very, very good job in managing development through the e-print systems. The SDLC, again I mentioned before, they provide a hosted management solution and bespoke development service, all based on DSpace type activity. From e-print space work, Glasgow, I said, do a lot of work there, but there's also a couple of people, Queen Margaret University, for one, who actually sort of also do hosted services as well in Scotland. And as a result, we've got almost a complete coverage of all higher education institutions, all shapes and sizes really. There's three institutions I can think of that don't have specific repositories for institutional research, but I know that they're all working on projects together at the moment. And there's also a lot of projects in place which look outside of open access, published materials, like peer-reviewed materials and theses, and lots of great literature and research data now is becoming more and more important. And also because of the OATS declaration work early days, we've also got very good coverage in terms of open access mandates and requirements, and the figures currently quoted through the ePrints raw map service, but about 40% of all the Scottish HE have a mandate of some sort. And we have experience in national aggregation through the IRS Scotland project work before, which looked at actually putting together an aggregation of all these repositories for discovery purposes. But it's not all that good, which I'll come on to a little bit later on. And I can't do the presentation without saying thank you to JISC really. They don't get enough credit in the UK for that work they do. And they're suffering a little bit financially at the moment, so all these sort of things do make a difference. So research pooling. Okay, so what are research pools? These are very important. They basically are a formation of strategic kind of collaborations between universities in disciplines, and actually in some cases across disciplines. And the whole research pooling initiative started after the 2001 research assessment exercise, when the Scottish Funding Council thought, well, how can we sustain the development of research in Scotland? How can we improve on research in Scotland? And they put in place a formal programme to basically create these initiatives. And these are the reasons why they're doing a good job. Basically, they've been enhancing research competitiveness generally, improving the environment. As a result, Scottish universities are becoming much more attractive to the research stars. The joint submissions are made possible, improved sharing of resources, improved investment in new facilities and new services. Graduate academies are doing a really good job of improving the next generation of researchers in Scotland. There are better links out into enterprise. And generally speaking, it's much better because the research pools are fully inclusive across disciplines, so there's not just a particular set of individuals, it's an entire discipline area across Scotland.